News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and now 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
Handle that firearm more carefully, or you could go to jail. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. Congratulations. You made it. It's Friday, March the 6th, 2015. Clear sky, 25 degrees in Missoula right now. And our newscast is sponsored by Kootenai Creek Village, the maintenance-free active adult community in Stevensville. Call 777-5387. Montana lawmakers are considering a bill to make careless gun handling a criminal offense. Democratic Representative Willis Curdy introduced House Bill 539 in the House Judiciary Committee yesterday on behalf of the Hellgate Civilian Shooters Association. That proposal would prohibit handling a gun on public land with disregard for the safety of people or property. Hellgate Civilian Shooters President Lon Dale said there's currently no way to keep drunk or rule-breaking people from using firearms at gun ranges on public property leased by the state to shooting associations. Opponents say the bill is overly vague and would infringe on people's gun rights. Updating a story we headlined yesterday, Missoula County has settled a lawsuit filed by a sheriff's deputy who said she was discriminated against when she was repeatedly questioned about a kiss she shared with a married deputy at her residence during a time when he failed to respond to a 911 call. Sheriff T.J. McDermott said the county will pay Deputy Rebecca Burkett $60,000 to settle the case. He says it's about doing the right thing when harm is done to an employee. The alleged discrimination occurred in 2013 when Carl Ibsen was sheriff. Burkett sought damages for privacy violations and humiliation she suffered during that internal investigation. University of Montana Provost Perry Brown is asking the campus community to weigh in on a proposal to shorten winter break. Brown says UM has one of the longest winter breaks in the nation.
If people are on the quarter system, like the West Coast schools, they're back in school the 2nd or 3rd of January, so they have basically a 2-week break. If you're in a semester school, you usually have something like maybe a 4-week break, and ours has been as long as 7 and probably about as short as 5.5.
Brown proposes shortening the vacation to about 4 weeks. He says shorter breaks might make UM graduates more competitive when it comes to finding jobs in the summer.
Our winter break is one of the longest in the United States, and so that puts our students at home for a long, long time, and we hear from parents, we hear from students. We actually have students that come back to Missoula early because they want to re-engage with their friends and get prepared for the next semester. But we also have issues dealing with getting our students out when other students in the country are getting out so they're fully competitive for summer positions.
The public response period will last through March. However, any changes won't go into place until 2017. An 18-month-old boy suffered serious injuries when a pit bull black lab cross bit him in the face in Hungry Horse. The Flathead County Sheriff's Department says the dog apparently wandered away from its owner and encountered the boy Wednesday afternoon. Undersheriff Dave Lieb said the boy suffered, quote, fairly serious injuries, end quote. He was flown to Kalispell Regional Medical Center where he underwent surgery. The dog has been taken to the county animal shelter and the Sheriff's Department is still investigating. This week, NBC Montana, our news partners, reported that a family had pulled out of Franklin Elementary School after having to deal with head lice 14 times in the past 2 years. MCBS Health Services Supervisor Linda Simon says some parents think the school system should shift to a no-egg policy, but she disagrees.
What I hear from time to time from parents is a no-knit policy. Nits are the eggs. The nits are not necessarily indicative of an active case of head lice, and sometimes people misidentify and they think someone has head lice and they actually don't.
Simon says everything from dandruff to hairspray can be mistaken for lice nits and that a no-nit policy could cause unneeded disruption. Simon couldn't speak about the family's case in particular, but did say in general a recurring problem has little to do with school.
Sometimes people think the treatment and they're done. They need to be doing the follow-up and just making sure. So they feel often like their child got it again, and sometimes that can be the case. I'm not saying that is never the case for some kids, but particularly when they say they got rid of it and a week later they got another case, they probably never got rid of it. Or they're giving it back and forth in home.
According to Simon, if students have an active case of live lice, parents will be asked to take their children home and treat them that day. But that's not the case if only eggs are seen. One of the most controversial ads during the Super Bowl, if you remember, was from Nationwide Insurance about children and accidents. Danette Fadness with Safe Kids of Montana has more.
Childhood injuries are the leading cause of death for children in the United States, and it turns out the parents kind of assume that their home is safe. And so we just wanted to get out some tips because there are a lot of children that are injured or killed in their home.
Along with safety tips about water, smoke alarms, and the best ways to keep babies safe in their cribs, Fadness had a special word for grandparents.
They babysit their grandkids, or they just are over visiting, and they wander in there. So it's really important to keep those locked up in a cupboard up high or in your purse. Oh, Grandma comes over to visit and has medications in her purse and leaves it down in the baby, or even, 3-4-year-olds can get into those and really get hurt.
With spring on the horizon, Fadness and Safe Kids Montana urge parents to make sure their yards and outdoor spaces are safe for children as well. U.S. Bureau of Land Management is seeking new homes for wild horses after they're rounded up from western rangelands. The federal agency is asking landowners in a dozen western and midwestern states to submit proposals if they're willing and able to rent out pastures for the animals. Right now, an estimated 49,000 wild horses roam the West. That's 23,000 more than the BLM's target population. Regular roundups are one of the BLM's methods for controlling wild horse numbers. If you'd like to apply, the deadline is April 22nd. Missoula County Public Works Department started inviting Missoula citizens to take part in a dust abatement program. County Engineer Eric Dixon told me yesterday, even if you're not on the budget, you can still apply.
When the residents, if they're on a road that we are not able to treat within our budget, as long as it's a county-maintained road, if they call in or if they come in and see us and get an application that says, yes, we want to participate, we use their estimate for the material that they'll use, and we include that with our program, which this year we're only spending about $145,000.
Dixon says there's a limited time frame to begin the abatement.
So by the time we were comfortable with the budget that we would have, and we ran through the program internally and then with the commissioners, that puts us on the schedule a couple weeks behind normal, but it's usually about this time of year that we're advertising that program so that we can get our bids out about mid-March and be ready to start the application then in June.
The deadline to submit commitment letters is March 25th. News Talk time is 6:10.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Clear to partly cloudy skies today with our high temperatures topping out in the low 50s. Winds will be out of the southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight with our lows right around 30. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13.